I'm Colonel Pixley, and with me is Alderin Gerand, and you're listening to the September 3rd, 2944 transmission of Comm Chatter, the show about everyday pilots' lives and the news that concerns us.
And the show about rambling on and being late all the time.
Indeed, we'll get to that in a moment. On today's Comm Chatter, we'll be going over a lot of news, including the new 2945 Constellation variants, an update on the Arena Commander public demo, the new floor plans being offered by the hangar manufacturers, and a couple of discussion topics relating to the Constellation variants. All that and a little bit of chatting after the jump.
So Pixley, why did we wait so long to do this next episode?
Well, there are two reasons, and they're both my fault. Well, okay, they're both mostly my fault. One of them's less my fault than the other, but I do claim culpability for both of them. So, first reason is that a few weeks ago, Selfland had me move into one of their new hangar facilities here in New Austin. And, I was pretty enthusiastic about it. Much nicer. I mean, comparatively, obviously, it's not as nice as one of those AirView or Revel and York hangars, but, still nice, more living space. So, I get over there, and it turned out that they hadn't hooked up my Spectrum connection yet. So I had been waiting on that a while. And then, last week we actually got around to recording, and for some reason I didn't notice that my end of the conversation wasn't being recorded. So,
yeah.
We had Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, last week we recorded the entire episode, had it done, like almost an hour of recording in the end. And Pixley went to edit it, and it was just me. And on top of all of that, with the recording and Spectrum issues, we've just been really busy lately.
Yup. Trying to stay alive. I haven't bought food this week, and I really need to. That's how broke I am right now. So, yeah. We need to do our work. Anyway, so, let's move into the news. Big news. Super big news. That's a couple weeks old now, but still worth talking about, I think.
So as I'm sure everyone knows now, we have Constellation variants.
Wait, what? I didn't know that.
Yep. 4 variants, one of them the original, which is now named the Andromeda. That's the, general multi-purpose ship. And there's Taurus, which is more of a cargo ship, and really damn good, like, bang for the buck hauler. We'll get into that more later.
Indeed.
The Aquila, an explorer, and the Phoenix, like top-of-the-line luxury model.
Yep, which we'll also go into a little bit later.
So we all know about the Andromeda. Not much has really changed since the initial announcements and older models and what have you. The Taurus, however, the space frame has been slightly modified to expand the cargo hold without sacrificing strength. The shields and armament are somewhat lighter. Power plant is somewhat smaller. But for the most part, they can be upgraded to near Andromeda specs. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a P-52 like the Andromeda. The Aquila. This is where it starts to get interesting. It has a completely different cockpit. instead of that angular pointy one that we have in all the other models, it's rounded, kind of. I'm not currently fond of the look myself, but
Yeah, I was about to say I don't really like it either, but I
but
mean I can see why they did it.
yeah, it gives a much better view. Although, you know, like I said, I don't think it looks all that great, and it sticks out a bit more, so it's a slightly bigger target. But you're not going to be doing much fighting in this. It's an exploration vessel. It gives up one of the turrets for a sensor suite, and gives up the P-52 for an Ursa rover. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Ursa is a civilian model of a rover that the Marines use. Now, this isn't just like a gray cat. This thing is a 6-wheel drive monster with a turret on top of it.
Yeah, it was the rover that they showed at the end of the Aquila commercial that aired with the variant announcement that RSI gave.
And the Phoenix. I'm sure a lot of people have been lusting over this, even with the price tag on it. At this point in time, it has a lighter armament than the others, but so shiny.
It is crazy shiny. It's like someone stuffed an entire Revel in York hangar into a starship. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's start off with the what actually comes with, like,
Well, it comes with a hot tub for one.
well, yeah, comes with a hot tub, completely different interior layout. Yeah, like Pixley said, hot tub. Let's see, there's a bar, conference table, kind of sitting area, and what I assume is like a hollow screen.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Probably.
In all the things I've seen, it's not turned on. It might just be a piece of glass. I'm not rich enough to walk through one of those things.
I don't have enough money to look at one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, in the bar. Now that's one thing I wouldn't mind my ship, although I'm not incredibly fond of the painted-on bottles. Now,
Yeah, that is a little tacky.
on top of that, it comes with a P-72 Archimedes. Now, we've not seen that yet, but we can assume it's like a step above the Merlin. It also comes with a different rover, Lynx rover, which we've not seen either. But we could assume it's probably a lighter weight, classier thing, because, well, it's with Phoenix.
Yep.
That or it's a monster.
Or it turns out it's actually Grey Cat 6000 SUX.
Yeah, just with a
No, it's
with
just
a polish on it.
Nope, not even with the polish. It's just that.
But anyway, the P-72 Archimedes isn't in production yet, or if it is, it's not been shipped out. So until then, the Phoenix is being shipped with P-52s.
Yep, and if you bought a Phoenix, RSI will come to you and have them swapped out as soon as the Archimedes are ready. Yes, you have to give the Merlin back.
So personally, if I had to get one, I'd either get a Taurus with plans to upgrade it to Andromeda specs, or as close as possible, or just the plain Andromeda. Because it'd be nice having the cargo capacity, but it'd be even nicer having the armament in our line of work.
Indeed.
So,
I mean, especially since, I mean, theoretically, if we were to have a Taurus, it would, like, be solely for mining type stuff, and that would... I mean, I don't like running ships that can't defend themselves.
yeah, mining and general logistics. Now, the Constellation, it's no slouch. I mean, even the Taurus is pretty well armed. I mean,
Well, yeah.
let me look at this.
Yeah, but it does have that very severe blind spot, which happens to be on the same side of the ship as the cargo hold. Well, the main access to the cargo hold, of course.
Yeah,
That
it's lacking one of the turrets, and
yeah,
it's got less missiles.
yeah, it's lacking its ventral turret.
But still, unless you come against a swarm of small enemies or a handful of big ones, I think you'd still be fine because, I mean, let's face it, you'd have 28 missiles to launch at the guy. You'd still have 4 M5As.
Well, yeah, if they're in front
And you'd
of
still
you,
have the turret.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they're in front of you or above you, it's fine. But smaller ships are more maneuverable. Um, it would be, I mean, obviously not easy, but feasible to just stay in that blind spot and wail away.
Yeah, we'll see once we start seeing more people fly in those.
Yeah, I don't know. For my money, what none I have, I'd have to go with the Andromeda.
Yeah. If I did get Taurus, the first upgrade I probably would get is a turret, or if, well, what's the second turret?
Well, again, if that's even possible, we don't.
Yeah,
know.
if it is. Although I'm sure the extra weapons would put a bit of a strain on the power plant because it is smaller, and
Yup.
if it did, I'd probably just upgrade that second. But again, I don't have one.
Yeah.
We may get one in the future. It's like I said, it is a really good bane for the buck.
Yeah. I mean,
Again,
if
more
any
on
of us
that
were to
later.
get a, well, yeah, in regards to the Taurus, yeah. But I mean, if any of us were to get a Constellation, I imagine the first one would probably be like a jointly owned pick and shield one, not
Yeah.
like one that any of us own privately. Unless we happen to recruit someone who already has one, in which case, obviously, that would be their ship. Alright, let's move on. Move on from
Indeed.
the topic of how no money we have. I guess I'll take this one for your back and forth thingy. Alrighty, so supposedly this week, although it was supposed to be last week, and I would have said the same thing. Well, I said about the same thing last week.
You did.
Supposedly this week, the 0.9 update to the Arena Commander Public demo is supposed to go live. There are some pending issues with leaderboards, which a lot of people think are really important, so that's kind of going in. But the major... Actually, there are many major things. The super duper major thing that kind of came out of nowhere, although Savalent Grimm, our guest from a few episodes ago, did indeed call it, so kudos to him, a racing mode will be added in version 0.9. With that racing mode comes Origin M50 and 350R compatibility, which makes sense. Those are, the prototypical racing ships. And it will come with a New Horizons map. So, I would assume based upon the actual racetrack. I don't actually follow the Murray Cup. Actually, it should be noted that Original is partnering with the Murray brand to bring this to us. So, like, it's, again, an authentic experience, which, of course, Arena Commander is... That's its whole goal, is to be an authentic experience. In addition, private match functionality will be added. It's not going to be like proper lobbies and stuff that they claim that'll be available when the release version hits, but there'll be like codes you can send to your friends to say like, hey, type this into Arena Commander and it'll put you in my game. So, not quite full functionality, but it certainly gives people an opportunity to practice with their friends and organization folks.
Yeah, that's been needed a long time. I've been hoping for that for quite a while.
Well, yeah, especially since we have yet to play Arena Commander together.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, we've been busy, so I don't have much time to You
Well,
go and join the public matches, and I don't want to be that guy that just drops out in the middle of a match because he has to go.
yeah, yeah, indeed,
I hate doing that.
yeah. And moving on, piggybacking off the private match functionality comes co-op Vandal Swarm, the ever popular Vandal Swarm Horde game mode. Is now receiving co-op functionality with up to 4 players, as I recall. So that should be fun. Loads of fun. Good practice without having to deal with random buttholes on the spectrum. So that'll be nice. Certainly able to work on coordination while working against predictable opponents. You know, despite how good the AI is in Arena Commander, you know, they tend to behave certain ways. Whereas people can be crazy. So yeah, that's I mean, obviously minor quality of life changes, bug fixes, that sort of thing will obviously also go into version 0.9, but those are the major features.
There is one more thing, however.
Oh, is there?
I just remembered.
Okay.
Consolidated Outlands is partnering with Accelerated Mass Design to produce a racing variant for the Mustang.
Ah, yes.
Now, I've always speculated this ship would be a pretty good racer, but we're about to find out.
Yep. Is that actually going into 0.9? Has original gotten... Because I didn't think the Mustang was far enough along in production for that.
I don't believe so, but it's probably just good to get that out there. So, you know what I still want to see?
What do you want to see?
I still want to see that Grey Cat racing.
Well, I mean,
not just the one in like when someone dumps in the Murray Cup, but you know, for a lot of time there were people talking about racing in the hangars.
yeah,
Because you know how some people have like the stunt track.
yeah. Which I'm honestly surprised that's even legal, but yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it would be amusing if like a amateur racing organization kind of sprung up out of that. Although one cannot discount that the SUX would be a valid competitor in the Murray Cup. It can fly,
Barely.
kind of, and probably only in low gravity environments, but it does have the capacity for flight.
Alright, so.
Probably also not in atmosphere either, because its aerodynamics would be terrible. Alright, let's move on.
Yeah.
So, as I alluded to earlier, the hangar manufacturers are pushing new floor plans all at the same time, which is a little weird, but nice for us, I think. Because now, the rooms in these hangars are modular. You know, when you get more space in a Revel and York hangar, even if you just like, you know, you're just parking New Aurora, you would get a whole big new section of the hangar to work with. You know, for this little tiny Aurora you have. But now the rooms are much better sized than the ships, and this is across the board. So now, if you so desire, you can put a Constellation in a self-land hangar. And you just have to have, you know, the bigger room to support it. And Revel and York hangars now have rooms that are specifically sized for Aurora, 300i, those, you know, that size of ship. And then obviously, same with AeroView. So, things are a lot better sized. Living space is a bit more of a priority, so like you actually have a space to yourself as opposed to just walking in and there's your ship and you don't like really have your own space in the hangar.
Yeah, the little cots and and shelf with your lamp and whatnots. That doesn't really count as living
Yeah.
space.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that violates a few codes too.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think people are technically supposed to live in those. It's just that I've been living in mine because I have no money, and I got evicted from my apartment a few years back. But so, and this comes at no additional cost to the rent, which is very, very nice. They could have totally shafted me, and then I'd be up a creek. But yeah, so I'll just run through because there has been a bit of aesthetic redesign. Not for Selfland though. The new Selfland hangars aesthetically are identical to the old ones. The lighting's a bit better. I know that's been a complaint for many people. I mean, I've had the same complaint. You know, every time I open the main door, like it physically pains me to look out because of how bright it is, even at night. But it does have that living space and other stuff that make it more habitable, but still the like cheap metal kind of thing going on. The AeroView business class hangars have gotten a pretty decent overhaul. Instead of the bright white and blue kind of thing, they've kind of toned it down with more gray.
But there's still a lot of blue.
There is a lot of blue, but I'm just saying they're switching out the white for gray. But like it's still kind of it's still kind of curved. Like you still got like the curves going on there. I don't claim to be any kind of artist or interior designer type person, so there are probably technical terms that I'm not aware of. But like, it's still very AeroView.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it at first, but it's starting to grow on me.
Yeah. Well, I like the new one because it's like not as bright white. Because like I think like the Selfland hangars, the old ones, had the problem of being too dark. And I think the old AeroView hangars had the problem of being too bright. So,
oh yeah,
both of them have come to this, proper lighting amount, happy medium type thing. Alderin has actually been a bit upset about this, but Revel New York has also done a redesign, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but if you've seen images of the inside of the new Constellation Phoenix, you've basically seen the inside of the new Revel New York hangars. We've got lots of wood paneling, very bright, but not like overly bright like the old AeroView hangars were. Because like, there are parts that are not completely lit. But there's a bit of plant life in there. Kind of a modern, like, kind of, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's really fancy.
Like modern, minimalistic.
It is. Minimalistic, that was the word I was looking for.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, very minimalistic. Personally, I like it much more than the old, not AeroView, Revel New York hangars. I don't know, I thought the shades of red they were using were a little off to me. And
I think that might have just been lighting, because it had they seem to have a slight yellowish tinge like the Selflands did, just, brighter.
yeah, I don't know, it's just like, I mean, it wasn't bad by any means, but I like the new ones way better. Like, it seems more like a deluxe hangar as opposed to just the big hangar.
I mean, yeah. When I saw it, I thought the Revel in New York was going to be replacing the business class hangar. It just seemed like that kind of thing. But no,
Well, I think
I don't like it.
Well, I think they're using
It just
the term deluxe like the
Yeah.
Aurora LX uses it, in that it's a luxury hangar. It's very much a luxury hangar.
yes, yeah. I would just like to see something more along the lines of the old one. Although I suppose you could say that's what the AirView is doing to an extent.
Yeah, I would say so. Obviously, I don't know for sure because I've only seen like the advertisements. I haven't actually set foot in one for many reasons, most of which is that I don't have one, and I'm not going to go across town just to get over to the new AeroView buildings. So, yeah. I imagine as people start moving in, like, hey, look at my new hangar, this is so cool, then we'll like actually get a good feel for the actual aesthetic. I don't know, I like all of them. I mean, well, in the case of Southland, it's more like I don't hate it. It's very it's functional. It is very much a functional hangar. It should be noted though that VFG Industrial, with its new asteroid-based hangars that have been coming along for quite a long time, they're also going with this modular thing. In fact, I would go so far as to say that they the appeal they had of that, because a lot of people were really excited when they heard about that, and that kind of pressured the other hangar manufacturers into going with this modular approach, which I think is good for everybody. And I think inspires more competition, because, you know, before, if you had a Constellation, you were basically forced to go to Revel in York, because they were the only ones with hangars big enough. Whereas now, people like us, if we manage to get our hands on a Constellation, can still park it in our Southland hangars. Which is good, you know, saves us quite a bit of money.
Indeed.
Alrighty. Any further thoughts on the hangar changes?
Nah, not really.
Moving on then to out of the news and into the discussion topics. Both of them are about the Constellation.
So, as I said earlier, we were going to come back to the Constellation, specifically the Taurus and the Phoenix. We'll start with the Taurus, because it seems like RSI is starting to muscle its way in they're starting to muscle their way into the MISC market. That specifically the Freelancer and Freelancer Max. Because the Taurus, that is only a little bit more expensive than a Freelancer Max. And it comes with, let me pull this up, I think it was about 1,000 freight units more.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how much more space you get in a Taurus.
And then it's also arguably better defended. Again, although it's a bigger target, it is heavier armed.
Yeah.
And it is more upgradable than the Max is.
Indeed.
So if you have to choose between one of those, personally, I would go for the Taurus over the Max.
See, my perspective on the thing is, one person, I think it really comes down to how many people you have. Like, one person, you know, is certainly physically capable of operating a Taurus, but certainly not ideally. Like, it's better to have 3 people, you know, so you can have all the stations filled. Whereas...
Well, with a Taurus, you'd only... 3 would be best. You only really need 2 with the stock one, because you've only got the pilots and the person manning the turret.
Well, yeah.
Then
But,
again, you could potentially add a second turret if it's possible. I'm not entirely sure. So
well,
that'd be three. Then you could add a P-52 when they're sold separately. They aren't at the moment, but the
see,
docking collar for it is still there.
well, my point is, like, there's a reason why the Constellation line has 3 seats in the cockpit. It's not like, those 2 other seats besides the pilot are for, just people sitting around until they need to get in the turrets. It's really a case of, you bring out the full functionality of the Constellation when you have everyone operating those stations. Whereas, in a freelancer, person can fly that all by themselves. I mean, yeah, you can have the co-pilot, but
Yeah, you can have there are a couple other seats there that can be utilized, and there is a turret on the freelancer as well.
well, yeah,
As manned.
but what I'm saying is it would be far easier for one person to operate a freelancer than a Constellation, like by miles.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose you're right, but I still would go for a Constellation myself. Well, unlike most people, I could drag a few people into it. I mean,
Hey! You're not the one to do the dragging. Come on.
but what if it's my ship?
Well, okay.
What if I personally own it, like bought it myself?
Okay. Come on. You've read the handbook. I made that myself, by the way, so if you didn't read it, then I'm personally insulted. The official pick and shield stance on multi-crewed, privately owned ships is that they are not necessary. They do not have to, in any way, be used for the organization. Now, my point, it's yours. You do with it as you please. You can. I mean, obviously you have to dedicate some ship to pick and shield operations, otherwise you wouldn't be a very good member. But, and I think that organizations that do dictate, like, hey, if you have a multi-crew ship, we should be allowed to call on it, even though you bought it with your own money. I mean, obviously, if we were to jointly buy a Constellation, then that would be for the organization.
Yeah, no arguments there.
Yeah, but yeah, I think organizations that would force that sort of mentality are douche nozzles, and that's totally not how I roll. I mean, my point on the dragging thing is just that you do not get to dictate who goes with you. I mean, unless, I so choose as to promote you high enough to make that call, which...
Unless I ask them and they agree to it, so
Well-
we're not acting.
Well, then...
I know
You
that is
use the word
completely
drag.
different.
You use the word drag. Okay? That was my only gripe with that. If you had said, like, I have people I can ask. I mean, if I'm not doing anything, you ask, like, hey, you want to go do a thing on a Constellation? You'd be like, you're damn skippy, I want to do a thing on a Constellation. And then in that case, my authority would be ceded to you because it would be your operation. See, I'm a reasonable person. And you need to read the handbook.
Yeah, I'll dust it off one of these days.
So, are we clear on that now, Alderin?
Yeah, that was a little bit of an aside there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a nutshell, the Taurus versus Constellation Max. Potentially better if you have people to man it, or if you need a lot more cargo space for an equivalent price.
Mm-hmm.
And you aren't really expecting trouble.
Yeah.
That said, I'm not sure. I'm still not convinced you do much better in a Max.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see.
It's still. I mean, the Constellation, the Taurus was kind of modified into a cargo ship. The Max is and the Freelancer itself are kind of cargo ships to begin with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, you had something to say?
But I'm sure you've mentioned this before. There are people that do crazy things with even Auroras, so we could. It depends on the pilot, really. I mean, if you're unarmed or something, you're not gonna do anything. You're gonna run or maybe get shot. Yeah. But if you're a good pilot, you have a good, well-equipped ship. Who knows? Depends on you, the other guy, and whatnot, and etc.
Oh, yeah. Well, and one more thing to keep in mind is that, the Taurus is only just now rolling out.
Yes.
And I would imagine, in the coming weeks, people will start evaluating its performance against the default Freelancer and the Max. There may be some, particular thing about that we're not even considering that gives the Freelancer a valuable edge over the Taurus. We just don't know. Alrighty, moving on. From the moving on. Alrighty.
Moving it. I remember the words. Something. Okay, that's not. Go Phoenix now.
Yeah. Alright. So, in other Constellation type news type things, there's been a bit of a controversy about the pricing of the Phoenix, because it's almost twice the cost of an Andromeda, and a few times the cost of a Taurus, and people are all up in arms about it, like, oh, why is this so expensive? And they're like, yeah, and like it has the Archimedes and the Lynx. It's just stupid. Why is it so expensive? No one can buy this.
It's a luxury ship.
Yeah, all that wood paneling and shiny and hot tub and stuff like that. That stuff costs a lot of money. Also, you sacrifice, almost the entire cargo hold to have the expanded living space. Like, it's not like you get all that cargo space in addition to the living space. The cargo space has to be sacrificed in order to have, like, the nice floor and all that stuff. And, yes, it is defendable. It does have good armaments. But it's not meant for the functionality. It's meant for, like, if we go to the RSI website, it's focus. Like, the little focus thingy they have. But every single ship is given as, like, a way to say, like, hey, this is what this ship does. Luxury touring. That's what it does. Luxury costs money. And there's a reason the Aurora LX costs more. I mean, in addition to a couple other things, but, those leather seats and the nice little things about it, those cost more. And the 300 series costs more because it's nice.
You know what this has me a little, think you have a little bit. Imagine what people are going to be like when the 890 jump comes out of the market.
Why does this cost 4 bajillion credits? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the Phoenix could potentially be just like a pocket version of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like this whole thing is stupid. I can't believe people are getting all worked up about it.
Didn't they actually drop the price a little bit and refund the people that bought it prior?
Yes, but I believe that was...
not a huge refund, just maybe...
Yeah. Well, I think that was just due to a pricing error in the RSI system, so I don't think that was, like, a response to that, because, like, the major wave of that was, like, after the change had happened.
Yeah, and I think there was also a little bit of little bit of annoyance there because the refund was in store credits, not actual, spendable everywhere credits.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean,
I mean,
I don't
they can't
know.
really inject money into your account without, all sorts of, you know, I don't know. I'm not a
They're a
lawyer. I'm not a
corporation.
banker.
That's what all corporations do. That's not a new thing. Yes, it is. It would be really cool of them if they would just give you back the money as proper UEC. But that, you know, we've had a digitally based economy for almost a millennium now. Like, that's nothing new. Like, as soon as that sort of thing happened, that's how it's been. And probably even before humanity started having a digital economy. Like, store credit, I'm sure, has been around a very, very long time. So, yeah, it's not cool of them, but, you know, it's not like people should really be getting up in arms over it.
Yeah, if you could afford one of these, you could probably, you know, that little bit of money you got refunded probably isn't going to bother you much. And if it does, well, you shouldn't have bought what you couldn't really afford then.
Indeed. Ha! I'm looking at the ship specs page right now, and I found a typo.
What's that?
Um, it's on the Taurus description. Fully configurable, but without all the bells and whistles, the Tarsus is a great way to get started with cruise ships. um, if the person in charge of that sort of thing at Robert Space Industries is listening, you guys should probably fix that. Just saying. Because otherwise people are going to laugh at you like we just did. Alrighty. Any further thoughts on Constellation type things or anything, really?
Not this episode. Might have them for a later one though.
Yeah. Well, that's why we do more of these. That's why we do more of these.
Hopefully on time.
Yes, let's try for that next time. Again, mea maxima culpa. Actually, how does that even literally translate into English? My biggest fault? That's weird. Latin's weird. Anyway, alrighty. I would like to thank all of the people who make this possible. Ship manufacturers, hangar owner types, hangar companies. That's what we'll call them. All the wingmen out there, you guys keep flying. And Senate Van Ryn for, inspiring us to do the show. And wherever you are, I hope you're alright. If you would like to comment or give some sort of major comment, some criticism, something you like, something, whatever, or if you would like to make a guest appearance on the show as a guest host, like Savlant Grimm gave a while back, you can shoot us an email at pickandshield@gmail.com.
Yeah, or if you have an idea for a discussion topic.
Yes, indeed.
That whole multi-crew ship for, as how it relates to an organization. We just kind of came up with that on the fly here.
Indeed.
So,
yeah, so
we'd actually like more time to think about these things, so we actually, could talk about them proper.
Yeah, if you guys please give us discussion topics. I mean, sure, it's nice talking about the news or things about how the news is presented, that sort of thing. That's nice, but if you have something you really want to hear us talk about, send it in. And if you really want to talk about it with us, please apply to be a guest. It's not like we have that rigorous a selection process. It's more like, can you communicate with us, and do you have a microphone that isn't awful?
And even then,
I don't know. I mean, I may have very low standards in regards to some things, but you know, I at least want the listening experience to be pleasant. Anyway, so yeah, that's pickandshield@gmail.com. If you can't figure out how that's spelled, there'll be a link in the description to this broadcast. Anyway, let's drive this home. This is Colonel Pixley and Alderin Gerand signing off.
Have a good day, everyone. This day-ish in history, or rather, during our last attempt to record. We had recently hit 16 million.
Yay!
Okay. And in that, we unlocked Arena Mode. As well as an exclusive... No. With that stretch goal, we unlocked Arena Mode. The next generation of Wing Commander's train sim allows pilots to test out their combat skills against friends or strangers in a simulation. Now known as Arena Commander.
Yeah, it only took him a year to get it playable, right?
Alright. 2. Every pledger who backs before 16 million will receive a laser pistol.
I haven't seen hide nor hair of that one.
Oh, neither have I. I want it now.
Yeah.
Come on, RSI. We're getting the FPS stuff relatively soon.
Wait. The dude in the FPS teaser was wielding a pistol, right?
I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna have to look at that. Although I think it had cartridges. I'll have to go take a look. I think you can see it eject them.
Well, that may just be like a battery or something. Yeah, we gotta find out.
No, there's no way in hell that's laser.
Yeah, that is definitely a physical projectile.
Yeah. In that same letter to the chairman, we also discovered the $18 million stretch goal, an exclusive star system for pre-launch backers.
We still don't know what that is yet, do we?
No, we don't. And, even bigger around that time, the hangar module was released, and it crashed the website. Again.
Yep. Ironically, I didn't have internet back then either, but that was because I forgot to bring my Ethernet cable with me to school, not because I didn't have internet signed up.
Yeah, you still had wireless, it was just terrible, wasn't it?
I
had wireless on your laptop.
I did not bring my wireless adapter for my desktop. Which I brought it this time only because it was mine, and it's not like I was just not going to take something that was mine with me. So, yeah, it's a good thing I brought that. Otherwise, I would be up a very, very brown creek.
Alright, that's all.
Alright.
I don't think there's a good way to close that off, but...
Bye!